Uh, Welcome to the Board of Commissioners, February 26th, 2026 meeting. We'll start off today with Sheriff Dan Wekesa to give us his report. Sheriff?
So, updated report this morning. So we have 88 inmates in the jail, 13 females and 75 males. We're interviewing 2 candidates for open positions in the jail. Once the interviews are complete and we get these 2 candidates on board, that knock on wood, hopefully we will be fully staffed in the jail. We do have 1 deputy, Bruce Butler is retiring. He's got almost 19 and a half years of service. We'll definitely miss him.
Got tomorrow, correct?
Yep. And we're working on our training coordinator for the sheriff's office so that we make sure that everybody stays up to date on meeting all the state and federal training requirements.
That training coordinator, Sheriff, that'll come from within. You're going to
Yes, yeah. That'll just be added to the duties he already has.
Right. Is that usually a detective or something?
Our major's gonna take care of that.
How's the new building coming?
Good. Real good. Everything's looking good back there. Looks to me like they're probably getting ready to start on the security. And I'm hoping by May or June, we can start moving evidence back in.
Right. Yeah, this sounds good.
I don't.
Sure.
Yeah.
Once in a while, so I don't.
All right.
That was short and sweet.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next time we'll try to
Have a great
blend that
day.
out.
Mhm.
Have a good day, Sheriff. Jason?
All right, so we need to approve the Knox County Treasurer's 2026 investment policy. This is an update. And was signed by the treasurer that requires your signatures as well.
Motion to approve.
Second, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Then we have approve a certification for collection of delinquent water and wastewater accounts for the Knox County Auditor for placement upon property tax. This is just what we do, I think, twice a year, Penny.
Oh, he's been doing it about every other
Oh,
month.
as he now. Okay. And so these are all validated and ready to go. So once you approve that, we'll submit this list to the auditor.
Motion to approve.
Second, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Then we have an advertisement for public notice for bids for the Knox County Engineers 2026 roadway mowing program.
All right, motion to approve.
Second, all those in favor say aye.
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 And then from our bid opening we had on Tuesday, this is to approve the bid award for the Knox County Engineers box culverts for 2026 to USA Precast in the amount of $159,156.
Motion to approve.
Second, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And now we have just a stack of utility permits, so we'll just work down these and there's a bunch of them.
Okay.
I think this is the other phase of the ones we've been doing, right? This is another area they're starting in on with bright speed, a lot of these.
Most of them we've done was a Spectrum Charter, but now Brightspeed is getting theirs ready.
Okay.
Say, it looks like some duplication between Brightspeed and Spectrum, if I remember right. Are they both in the same area, Penny? Yeah.
Yeah. So the first one we have is utility permit, Brightspeed, this in Clay Township.
On motion to approve.
Second, all those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Barry, I'll hold all these
Yeah.
and sign them all at one. Or do they? Does everybody signs these, don't they? So we'll just pass them on as well. Utility permit, Brightspeed, Upper Fredericktown Road, Morris Township.
Motion to approve.
Second, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
A utility permit for Brightspeed, and this is on Montgomery Road in Morris Township.
Motion to approve.
Second, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And then we have, I got my list here, Old Mansfield Road, Morris Township, and Berlin Townships.
Motion to approve.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Bright Speed for Fredericktown Amity Road and Morris and Berlin Townships.
Motion to approve.
Second, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And Bright Speed for Knox Lake Road in Berlin Township.
Motion to approve.
Second, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Mishi Road, Berlin Township.
Motion to approve.
Second, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And then we have Bright Speed Montgomery Road, Morris Township.
Motion to approve.
Second, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Bright Speed on Knox Lake Road, Berlin Township.
Motion to approve.
Second, all those in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
And then Bright Speed Nickley Road, Union Township.
Motion to approve.
Second, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And then another one for Bright Speed on Mickley Road and Union Township.
Motion to approve.
Second, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And then we've got Bright Speed on Hazeldale Road and Union Township.
Motion to approve.
Second, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And then the last one is Mercury Broadband for Danville Amity Road and Pike and Brown Townships.
Motion to approve.
Second, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye. Everybody should have internet.
I'm gonna say, it sounds like there's gonna be plenty of internet, because this is
Okay.
a lot of duplication here from Spectrum.
Different sections of the road,
Yeah,
and there's a lot more coming, so this is nothing. This is,
well, hopefully it works. Because for a long time,
there's still a lot more
they
coming.
didn't have good internet. So. Jenna, do you have anything you want to share?
No, just had, yesterday, the, Convention of Bureau Visitors, and we come up with a guide in just a couple of weeks, so that's exciting, new guide. And, just good things happening, spring's coming, it's hinting.
They were getting
Glad.
closer to the 250.
Yes. And then the president's State of Union speech I thought was fantastic. And lots of things in upheaval, but there has to be division where there's corruption. Yeah, fix it. So I thought it was great.
Jason, have anything to?
No, sir, not today.
Sharon, would you like to share anything? Motion for them.
Motion to
Well,
adjourn.
we need to wait
Oh,
because we got
Can we-
JFS.
Yeah.
So we
Yes.
can just go into recess and then they'll be here because Scott's, he's bringing somebody with him, so we won't be able to move him up. They're
Oh, there it is, 10:30. Yeah, I'm sorry.
coming in at 10:30.
Yeah.
So we can just
We-
pause if you'd like, Andrew, till then, and we'll come back at 10:30.
Welcome back from the short recess. We're gonna have the Knox County Department of Job and Family Services give us an update today. And Scott, you've got a few visitors with you. If you
I
want-
do, Commissioner Lester, thank you. I'm Scott Boone, Director of Knox County Job and Family Services. And I brought Trey and Rick with me with Area Agency on Aging. I'll let them introduce themselves and talk a little bit about the important work that they do in Knox County for our folks age 60 and older.
Awesome. Well, good morning. Good to see everybody again. Thanks for the opportunity to come and share. Trey Turner, Chief of Planning and Development with the Area Agency on Aging.
And Richard Meeker, I'm the supervisor for our Adult Protective Services program here in Knox County. Also work with Area Agency on Aging.
Welcome.
Welcome.
You've been before.
Yes.
Yeah, I think you were introduced to them last year, so go ahead, Rick.
All right. So just to let you know a little bit as far as to what's happened and to give you a recap on 2025. And we've seen 345 total referrals in 2025. 258 of those were opened. In other words, we had an investigator go out, take a look, see what was going on to see if there were concerns with abuse, neglect, exploitation, or in some cases, maybe the allegations were not validated. However, we found maybe there were some other needs that were occurring at that time. And then from that, we also had 17 out of the 345 that were handled as information referral. In other words, maybe somebody had some issue or concerns going on. We talked them. We were able to talk with them on the phone and get them connected to the right services. One of the things that I always appreciate with Knox County is just the amount of assistance that we receive from some of the other community partners. We definitely have appreciated the support that we've had with Job and Family Services
And there's been some things we've been able to assist with financially. As many have seen and can attest to, definitely there are some challenges with services and supports as far as to what's available in the community. We definitely try to leverage a lot of our community partners in some instances, and one that I can think of, we were able to leverage work with Habitat for Humanity for a collaborative effort to make a trailer safe for somebody to be able to live in. And one of those situations, Station Break has also been a huge asset for us as well. We've been able to utilize some of our behavioral health partners with New Directions, behavioral health partners themselves. We also were able to get folks connected to some socialization opportunities, again, with some of our local senior centers in Centerburg, Fredericktown, and also Station Break as well. A lot of great events. Winter Sanctuary was very helpful for us during those months as housing continued to be a little bit of a concern for some of our older adults that we encountered. In some situations, and again, as mentioned, there are, and definitely appreciate the support in the community, but sometimes there just aren't, based on the situations we're discovering, the assistance that might be available. In other words, some of those places may have been exhausted or just didn't necessarily have the assistance available that was needed for some of the things that we encountered. For some of the individuals, we were able to assist with utility payments with the funding that we were afforded, and definitely appreciate that. Chore and deep clean. Some individuals, there were extermination efforts as well that were done because of health and safety issues. We've had some people, as many can attest to, when you have cockroaches, bed bugs in there, definitely harmful environment, and people that want to go back to the community, that's not safe for them to go back to. So we were able to leverage some of our funds to be able to help with that, because that's something difficult for a lot of folks to be able to assist with and take care of. It can definitely have a cost. There was hotel stays to prevent homelessness. We did have to also help with appliances as well. So those were just some of the things that we've been able to do with some of the levy funds that we were able to receive, and we definitely appreciate that and thank you for that assistance. For some of our individuals that came to be as well, there were many where we've noticed exploitation is on the rise, and we are still working to let folks know that exploitation is out there, it's real, it can happen, and it can happen to anybody. There is no, I'm a PhD, I can't believe it, I'm going to be immune from that. That's not the case, because what the scammers are doing, and they are very good, they work in the emotional center of the brain. So then that way I'm afraid or I'm lonely, isolated, whatever the case is, and I want to form that connection. And that's what they're tapping into. So that logical part of the brain that might be like that third base coach from baseball saying, stop, stop, stop. I'm just running through that sign and I'm starting to make that click. I'm starting to do that. And I'm going ahead making the deposit. For some of our individuals, and we're trying to provide support to pick them back up after that's happened, because we've had some individuals, as exploitation rises, that say, I can't believe that I fell for that. They recognize it was a scam. The situation's over and resolved. But unfortunately, as we see more with Bitcoin and crypto, and as we see more also with other forms of exploitation, they can't get that money back. So to keep people help to be able to provide assistance in the community for some of those individuals that might not have been able to make a utility payment because of that, or facing other housing and securities concerns in their home, being able to make those payments, we were able to help them and then get them connected to supportive services to help build their confidence back up, and then also to kind of get them pointed in the right direction. We also are trying to do more education and outreach as well. We have an event going on March 20th, and that's going to be a reference to exploitation. Again, exploitation on the rise, and throughout the state of Ohio in the past, I want to say the past year to 2 years, but I'd have to take a look at the stats. It's one of the first times exploitation surpassed as a state neglect. Used to be neglect was the huge one. But now, from what I've heard with some of the groups I'm part of, what they've noticed number wise is, and again, I think this was either last year or even earlier the year before, But within that past couple year time frame, exploitation now is surpassing. And some of that is because of a good job with awareness. People used to suffer in silence. There was embarrassment. Things just weren't being reported. And then also exploitation is just on the rise. Unfortunately, it works. People get their information in the dark web. So we do get a lot more people who are being targeted. What we're trying to do with the outreach on March 20th, we are letting people know. One of our biggest things is if we can educate, we can say, hey, these are some of the things that you might hear, you might see. It can cause people to have a pause. And when people pause, the likelihood of them being exploited and going through and depositing that money stops exponentially. So again, there's that pause where somebody might say, well, I just need to check in. Boom, I hang up, that's it. That's huge. So we like to be able to let people know that, because then that emotional side of the brain is kind of shut down, logical kicks in. Why is that person asking me for payment in Bitcoin? Nobody will ask for that. Why am I having to pay in gift cards? The other thing too that we're really looking forward to with this event on March 20th, and again, it's not exploitation, but it kind of falls under the realm where for some individuals it's falling into where it will lead to neglect, is a practice called wholesaling. And we have an expert on that. We've seen that in a couple counties already. And what happens is, and you don't even have to have an insurance license to do this, somebody will be made a offer on a home. Suddenly it's less than what I thought. People are signing their homes over, and then they have housing insecurities, and they're really faced with a lot of hardship because of that. We've seen that with a couple cases so far that we've been working with as well. So we have a gal that's going to be coming in that's an expert on that and is really working forward and has made some strides with legislation on that as well to start curtailing that practice a little bit. But again, it's where I'm hesitant to say it doesn't technically fall under the lines of exploitation in some of these regards. It's just a practice where unfortunately somebody is presented with a ton of information. I might be looking at downsizing anyway. Maybe this sounds good. So these folks know how to target. And what's happening then is we have people who are possibly losing their homes. So we're trying to educate people about that too.
And I can just add to that, Senate Bill 155, if you followed that at all, but Jamie Kent-Sluss, she was one who really advocated as a realtor, and went and testified, did a lot of work around that. She'll be the one speaking. I would encourage anybody that's not really familiar with the practice or just wants to be more educated, definitely register and come. I think they'll really find her information helpful. But basically what it did is it created more transparency around wholesaling. So now individuals, these wholesalers have to disclose the fact that they are trying to profit, on the home, and the individual has to sign that they've been informed. And so again, it's a step in the direction of helping. We've seen that. I think Rick alluded to the fact, across several of the counties that we administer APS, we've actually had individuals that we've been involved with that have, had this happen to them. And so we're pretty passionate about the topic, and anybody you can kind of make aware to be a part of it, I think they would find it helpful.
You might want to tell people where this event's at.
Yes, the event is going to be at the First Church of the Nazarene, and that's here in Mount Vernon on Friday, March 20th, and doors will be open at 11 o'clock.
And there's box lunches catered by Lanning's.
Yes.
The sooner you can register, the better to give a head count. I think we've got 35, you said so far, Rick?
Yes,
And what's the capacity?
we're looking at trying for 100 for the event.
Okay.
When
So
it's
plenty
free
of
to
space.
attend, it's just they need to register.
Yes, so that way we can account for the box lunches and the spacing for the event.
And if any of you all would be able to make it, we'd love to have you there if possible. That'd be great.
Definitely, I'd love to do that. It's sad. It's sad. There's not respect and honor for elderly people, and it's also sad that people can get away with doing these kinds of things. And it's a fine line there with the real estate. So, but to me, if their motivation and it's clear, I don't even know why the Attorney General can't go after those cases to help recover their money if they were scammed. And even getting someone elderly to sign a form saying they heard a presentation or consented, that even, it's a right, like you said, Trey, it's a step in the right direction, but it doesn't resolve the fact that they're high emotion, which means low intelligence usually, right? Like you
Yes,
said.
Sure. Yeah,
Exactly.
incapacity, when individuals have capacity and they're able to make
So when you were
decisions.
talking about bed bugs, cockroaches, that kind of thing,
Yes,
is that money doled out on a case by case scenario?
yes.
And you take care of that for these people?
Yes. What
Okay.
we've been doing is we have providers that we work with at Area Agency on Aging. And one of the nice things, and we've recognized this in some of our counties as well, and I always want to make sure that I'm using the money effectively. So I'll check with other departments as well. So I can just walk across to another department,
Sure.
ask where funding is at, see what opportunities we have. Unfortunately, there's limited funding right
Sure.
now, but I can also take a look to make sure that I'm using licensed bonded providers who do that. So what we do is we send things out for bid. So we'll have providers who will take a look at the job and they'll send that out for bid. So that way we're awarding the one that has the best guarantee on the work and then also making sure that it's the most cost effective.
And when you get a complaint, just for my own knowledge, I guess, do you have to get legal involved at that point before you go investigate? You have to get in touch with the sheriff, the police, whomever, prosecutor, in order to go verify the complaint, or are you free will to just go check it?
It depends on the nature of the complaint. In some cases, if it appears something is going to be criminal, or if we have concerns for our workers. In some situations,
Right.
it's sad. They might have a family member that's living in the home,
Right.
that there's been some concerns with domestic violence. That's something, and we will try to utilize our local law enforcement. They've been great to work with.
Good.
In a lot of these cases, we'll go out, they're with us. If we have somebody too, because we don't have the authority, if we see somebody that is actively a harm to themselves, sometimes unfortunately due to mental health, behavioral health symptoms, they might be actively suicidal or a harm to themselves and somebody else. We have law enforcement with us since they have the ability to be able to transport somebody then to the hospital if it would be determined by law enforcement at that time that that would be an issue. In some situations, we do the investigation. So if that's not the case, let's say it's a neglect case, we don't have the criminality or the safety concerns. With the Ohio Administrative Code, based on the way that's set up, my worker can go out, they can investigate. Now, if we explain, and a lot of folks, we let them know, and one of the reasons why we like these events too is to let people know we're there to assist. We will voluntarily work with you. So we have some individuals who will say, well, I don't want to talk to you. I'm fine. And that's okay. And we respect that. And we have to close out our involvement. There are some circumstances in which maybe we have reason to believe that there are concerns with their ability to make that decision. In other words, because of cognitive decline, or in some cases, mental health, I'm not capable of being able to appreciate what you're saying or the situation that I'm in, and I'm not able to make that informed decision. And then we do have to do something more legally at that point. And that's where we've had great legal support as well from Jobs and Family Services. But, and I know just by Chip, and I know that's not, I think Porter Welsh's.
Our attorney.
Yeah,
Chip
I just keep calling him Chip. So, but he's been a really great support to us, been a great advocate. He's been there with us in some of the cases we have had to take to court because of the concerns with an individual's ability to make decisions. And when it does get to that point where we're thinking, okay, are we here or not? We just need to bounce this past. Again, great support with Jobs and Family Services and the legal
Good to know.
assistance there.
Good to know. Thank you.
It can be frustrating, Barry, because people do have the right to self-determine.
Yeah.
It's a voluntary service, whereas in the children's services world, we have a little bit more or different leverage if we have evidence that there's children that are unsafe. You guys open doors all the time and take reports and get information, and it doesn't sound very good, and you want to take the next step, but when the answer is no, the answer is no, unless it's an extreme case like you were describing, Rick, where there's some other maybe cognitive issues in play. I know that we've talked about a lot of cases where we sort of know something's going on. There's a son or a daughter that may be financially exploiting a parent. Parents are very reluctant to go against the children. The children are often, well, this was a gift, and so there's a lot of fine lines and a lot of different avenues that they explore. But these are two of the easiest guys in the world to work with, and we've had a wonderful partnership the last several years, and we're bringing great things to our community. I think that the need is even more beyond what we've been able to tap into to date. But events like this on the 20th will help us get the word out even more and spread all the different things that you have to offer to protect our elderly individuals.
Well, if you look at Knox County in general, we're aging.
Yeah.
I mean, we're an aging community or county. So yeah, it makes perfect sense to me.
Right.
Yeah. And I appreciate Scott and his team, all they've done, and just kind of thinking about the partnership and the value when we originally kind of started this was around that whole proactive approach. I mean, as an area agency and even APS, when we can go and get the resources in place to be proactive and keep people independent and where they want to be for as long as possible, I mean, that's really our mission and what we do. So sometimes it's as simple as, that ramp that needs to be on the home or that chore service or, having in-home care that just gets some eyes and ears in the home. So I think that's always the kind of the value add that area agency was able to bring to the partnership in the beginning is just, it comes with all those services and supports that makes that possible. So we appreciate the opportunity.
So Rick, your calls come mostly in through Job and Family Services?
Yes.
That's where they come. So those 258 cases that you follow through, that there was an issue with this, were those like those stats? They were exploitation was the number one thing and then neglect, or?
Exploitation was pretty close. I'd have to look and see how many fell, and I don't know that I broke that down. Neglect was still the highest.
Okay.
In the majority of our counties, we do see neglect as still increasing for us. And a big part of the reason is too, because we recognize we don't want to get it to the next point to where somebody does, if we can be preventative. So if we can get services in place to where then maybe if there's a little bit of a decline, we can start stepping in, intervening early. So a lot of those cases we open up to try to get in front of them to give them services and supports. It's where our numbers are a little bit higher on neglect still, but exploitation is definitely increasing and it was our second.
Okay. Even though the state is more exploitation.
Yes.
In the rural area, it's still more.
Yes. Yes. And some of that too is we got more information out. One of the things too, and we're talking about the outreach, I know with exploitation, but there are a lot of great meetings here in our community in Knox County. So I've gone to a lot of those meetings, letting people know, hey, if you need anything, if you need us to take a look, let us know. There might be some services and assistance that we can provide. We get a lot of calls in reference to that. So because we've been kind of putting ourselves out there, I believe that's kind of driven our numbers too. And we try to be present at those meetings to really educate folks. So because of them taking advantage of that, which is excellent, what we want to hear, we can kind of get involved. And again, for some of these cases, the thing that's exciting is with even as mentioned by Trey with the trailer, there were a few modifications that needed to be done. Habitat helped with some of the pieces as well. We were able to help with some of those pieces. That person, again, that's a safety issue where they're able to remain at home. We're not necessarily going to hear back on those cases because we were able to get that assistance in. In some of the cases, and again, we respect decisions, but the sad thing is for some individuals, we might get called back. Suddenly there's a decline, and now because we weren't able to put those preventative services in and supports, and suddenly now the ability wise, somebody is saying, I don't know that I can live at home anymore, which is sad on that end of it. So again, with the neglect cases, we appreciate those numbers and statistics because by all means, if we can get in front of those cases and it's something we can quickly identify, we can keep them safe in the community. And really that has a huge impact we've seen just on quality of life and their health.
So anybody that is a professional who works with older adults or older adults, friends, caregivers, anybody over 60 years old should come to this meeting to find out what the local programs and resources are and how they can get what they need to help them or help somebody else. And that's March 20th, Friday at 11 o'clock at the Nazarene, First Church of the Nazarene.
Yes.
Excellent. Excellent.
Yeah.
Thank you. And Andrew, if you wouldn't mind putting that up on the social
Absolutely.
media platform for the county as well, and we'll post as well. And certainly I speak for the three of us where we appreciate the financial support and beyond from the senior levy and all of those different resources that contribute to our ability to support folks 60 and older in Knox County.
What do you see as the most healthy thing that elderly people, older seniors can do to keep their life
One of the biggest things from what I've seen with Area Agency on Aging and just some of the other work that I've done there as well as with Adult Protective Services is to keep active in the community. Again, I can't stress really great. We have the farmers markets that are available where people can get out, socialize. We have things at our senior centers as well. We have great transportation that's available here too. So the more folks can socialize, the really that helps a lot with quality of life because number one, that helps my mental health, that has a profound impact on my physical health and well-being as well. Then also that can help me to prevent exploitation. Some of these individuals who have been exploited, again, there's an adverse effect then on their own mental health because when I fall for that and I use fall for, because again, lots of people, they're not alone, that happens, but in my own perception, because that occurred, that can have a really profound impact, which can cause them to have a decline as well with health. And unfortunately, we've seen some people who, and I was just having a conversation before, where an individual recognized that they were scammers they were talking to, but they didn't care because that person was talking to them. And
It's treacherous.
it's a sad case, very much so.
Yeah.
So that's where, and again, a big part of this, folks are able to get together, socialize, get connected as well. But then also taking advantage of some of the opportunities we have here in the community to socialize, whether it's with groups that they're part of, whether they get active at the senior centers, whatever it is, that is huge to try to keep them connected as best as possible to be able to get some supports in there.
Yeah, and I think information, I mean, I know we're talking a lot about the event, but it truly is, I think, social connection with the community. But I think information and awareness, I mean, it's amazing as much as we try to tell people, this is what we do, these are the programs and services. I mean, just keeping people informed of, through the area agency, through Station Rate, through those entities that are serving the community, like just understanding what they can receive. Because some people think, hey, I'm not Medicaid eligible, right? I don't have that level of care or income. But we provide a lot of services and supports that aren't Medicaid, eligibility. We get funding through, levy funds and the Older Americans Act and, non-Medicaid dollars that can also alleviate people's burdens and help them in the community. So I think it's just people knowing what is out there that can really help them, and that's sometimes their children knowing that
I
too.
think a lot of scenarios like this and job and family services, when you talk about the over 60, is the internet. Most of the information is only available on the internet nowadays. And a lot of the generation that we're talking about are not savvy with, IT and internet and computers. So the outreach has got to be probably a little different for you than it would be for.
Yes. And it's something definitely we're keeping in mind because as Trey mentioned, another huge piece of that on keeping folks safe is that education. With the internet too, you're right, because a few years back, suddenly people were thrust into where if I want to see my loved ones, I can only communicate because of COVID through FaceTiming people. Well, we're not the only ones who are trying to educate or basically utilize technology. You have scammers realizing now. So sometimes people might be on, well, I can't do a game face to face. So let me just go ahead and play this game on my phone. Well, there's a chat room. Suddenly I'm being taken from the chat room into another site or I'm being asked to go ahead and give money to this friend that I met online. So there is an area where technology, you're 100% correct. It's where we are trying to do more, take a look at technology, educating people on that as well to try to prevent.
We appreciate the work you do.
Thank you. Appreciate
Thank
you
you.
guys. Thank you for your
Thank you.
support.
Appreciate the support. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks.
Thanks.
Scott,
See you.
Good to see you.
Yeah, thanks.
try to get out your thing on the 20th.
Yeah, that'd be great.
It's a Friday, so you should be.
Right.
I'm gonna leave, this is kind of an older card, but the number in the email's right. If you do register and can come, if you would just let me know. I would appreciate that if
Thank
you
you.
plan on attending. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Trey.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank you,
gentlemen.
Rick. Thank you, Scott.
You're welcome. Have a great day.
You too. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other business? I'll look for a motion.
Motion to.
We